So with the Alpini, naval invading and pushing into Chile, our run really comes to an end. And you may argue, well, this is not very historical, is it? You will be right about that, but there was a point in this run in which we were playing historical Italy. Then something happened and, well, we took part of the Soviet Union and the US is now Greater Italy. Yeah, so in the end it wasn't that historical, but it started as historical. After all, this is what could have happened if Mussolini were competent. You never know. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. We recently had our first ever live streaming and it was a lot of fun. For the live, we used this run as historical Italy, so some of you may already know what's happening. However, here we are going for the usual country guide format, meaning this guide will be a lot more detailed and easier to follow. Now in this run we are going to play as Italy, but in a more historical way, meaning we are not allowed any early expansion outside of the war in Ethiopia and the vassalization of Yugoslavia through focuses. We're also not allowed to invade the UK before Barbarossa, meaning the US will join the war. We will secure entirely the control of the Mediterranean Sea, including the historical invasion of Greece. And more importantly, we are going to challenge and completely destroy the Royal Navy itself. For that we are going to use an amazing ship design, which I cannot wait to share with you. Now if that sounds interesting, then this is the right video for you. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comments and to join our Discord to meet our amazing community. And of course, if you have been following the channel, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing and leaving me a comment. Your help is really important for this project. But that's all for the introduction. This is a long run, so let's get started. As usual guys, you can find all researches and focuses in the description of the video, so they will not be covered in the video itself. You can also get access to the dedicated spreadsheet by purchasing a tier 2 membership to the channel. In terms of buildings, we're going to build full civilian factories in Toscana and Lazio, and then full infrastructures plus civilian factories in Emilia-Romagna and in Campania. This is going to be our military production priority. Make sure to follow it very closely. As for the navy production, which is also quite important in this run, we are going to max out dockyards for all of the smaller ships. And for the bigger ones, which we brought to the lowest priority, we're going to assign one dockyard each to the Conte di Cavour, then 2 dockyards to the Littorio, and 1 dockyard to the last Littorio. We're going to adjust trade only in terms of rubber. We're going to change the occupation law to local police force, although in the high compliance territories we can use civilian oversight instead. Next, we need to get ready for Ethiopia. We need to capitulate them as fast as possible, unlike historical Italy. So we're going to create 2 armies here, and then we are going to assign more divisions to the Northern Army, all of the Alpini divisions, and a couple more infantry divisions, while everyone else goes to the Southern Army. So we use the entire Italian army to take down Ethiopia as fast as possible. For the Northern Army, we are going to set a spearhead in this way to Addis Abeba. And we're going to do the same thing with the Southern Army, also a spearhead. For the Field Marshal, we're going to use Rodolfo Graziani. And for the generals, we're going to use Carlo Vecchiarelli and Ezio Rosi. We're going to gather and train our navy. Shift click here to train it up to regular, and we're going to use Giuseppe Fioravanzo as our admiral, because we really care about the concealment expert trait. Next, we are going to take all of our planes. Now you could also disband them and create them again, but I prefer to send them manually to Ethiopia, and once they are all in position, we are going to merge them and then split them around evenly. When everything is green, that means it's time to attack. We are going to start recruiting 21 infantry divisions. Now, do keep in mind that fighters are actually not needed, because Ethiopia doesn't have fighters. It doesn't matter much, and it doesn't matter much the fact that we are running completely out of fuel, because we are training our navy. What is important, however, is to increase the motorization priority and to aggressively execute battle plans with Rodolfo Graziani. Okay, everything is green. It means it is time to attack Ethiopia. We don't want to waste any time here, because if you do not capitulate Ethiopia in time, they will form a government in exile. That's very annoying. If that happens, I would recommend restarting the run. Now, the only thing you want to be careful about here is you want to replace your general before he levels up, because we're going to pick bold attack, which may help getting better traits. After you take this province here, I suggest you take some of these troops, even a bit more, and you send them along the border here. This will mess up the Ethiopian front and make the war overall a lot easier. From here too, you want to micromanage them a little bit. This is the event I was talking about, by the way, so we can now pick bold attack, and we can also pick organization first here. So try to micro a bit, like we're doing with Mountaineers here. Try to rush Addis Ababa as fast as possible, of course. If you're lucky and you get it, that's going to help massively. This doesn't help on the other hand. Okay, we got Addis Ababa. Perfect. Okay, Ethiopia is down. Now it doesn't matter how long it takes you. If the faster you are, the better it is, but it doesn't matter that much. As long as you get the peace conference. If you do not get a peace conference, it means you're too late. You should restart the run or reload the save and do it again. Now we're going to start doing something not very historical, but after all we say that this is a more historical run, not entirely historical, otherwise it will end up very badly for us. So our competent Mussolini realizes that keeping Ethiopia together is not a good idea. It will be difficult to manage the compliance and the resistance, and so Mussolini had a brilliant idea. He thought, how about we balkanize them, we split them into as many small puppets as possible. If you did everything correctly, you shouldn't have any puppet Ethiopia, so it should be only other puppets. Now make sure to also take the war reparations and the resource rights. Now we also want to get rid of the other territories that we control in here. So we're going to occupy territories, we are going to return territory of the Hausa Governorate, we're going to return the Ajuran Empire, and we're going to release Eritrea as a puppet. That's it. So we are completely out of Ethiopia. We don't have to manage any resistance, any occupation. We are totally fine. That's not the only advantage of doing this, however. Since we are not allowed any early expansion, our industry will suffer from that. Having many small puppets is very convenient because each one of these puppets will complete their own focuses, develop their industry, and we take part of that industry. Another advantage, as you can see right here, is we now get some rubber from Ethiopia, which is great. Now we want all of the divisions that you cannot change, which are the irregolari divisions and the camicie nere, to be in a separate army. Now we also want to save the Mountaineers, so separate army for the Mountaineers. And everyone else we are going to change to regular infantry. So we're going to split our armies like this. We want the Mountaineers with Vecchiarelli, then we want the other two infantry armies, and then the units we cannot change are in a second army with a second marshal, Pietro Badoglio. We set them on an area defense command in Italy just so that they don't die of attrition, and we start training them. At 150 political power, we are going to pick the silent workhorse. Then as soon as we get to 28 navy experience, we are going to change the navy design that will become our core design for World War II. So we are going to change the Duca degli Abruzzi design. We're going to use this design instead. Make sure to select CNA, Cantiere Navale di Ancona, as your MIO. That's very important too. And this design will completely destroy the Royal Navy, but you will see that in a bit. So we're going to start upgrading to this design all we can upgrade. Do not upgrade the destroyer designs. All we care about are the light cruisers. So these are going to be the highest priority in terms of the Navy. And then we're going to add more of these produced from zero with max dockyards, but they will be the lowest priority. We're also going to stop training the Navy at this point, and we are going to start training our planes instead. At 50 political power, we are going to pick the Army Organization Specialist. Okay, as soon as the civil war triggers in Spain, we're going to send volunteers to Nationalist Spain. And we're going to use Mountaineers for that. We can only send 3, so let's remove a couple and send Vecchiarelli with 3 volunteers. Let's also send air volunteers, of course. We want to pick the logistical focus. And then at 150 political power, we are going to pick the Captain of Industry. At 50 political power, we are going to pick the Air Safety Specialist. You need 11 air experience, so then you can change this design into this better one. As soon as you complete this focus, we should send a ultimatum to the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. This is the MIO priority for artillery. Yugoslavia usually accepts, and when they do, then you should request their forces, and you should assign them to a new army, which we're going to keep in here. Any general is fine, really, and we can start training them as well. At 127 political power, we are going to switch to war economy. Then we're also going to force deploy our divisions here. So that we can send more volunteers to Spain. We can send the last 2 Mountaineers as well. At the 97 political power, we're going to pick Danieli Industrial Concern. This is the MIO priority for the Navy, for screens in particular. the MIO priority for infantry equip. Now, as soon as you complete the industrialization program, which should happen when you complete investments in Edison, we're going to build, and I never thought I would say this in one of my guides, we're going to build one dockyard in each of the 100% provinces, so that should be a total of 5 dockyards that we are building. We're going to cancel all future civilian factories except the ones that are already being built. And then we're going to start building military factories in all of the 100% provinces and in the 80% one. So something like this. At 150 political power, we are going to pick the war industrialist. And we're going to start recruiting another 24 infantry divisions. At 50 political power, we're going to use one of the special decisions in here to take over the Ministry of Corporations. We're also going to use our air experience to pick the spirits, aircrew surveys, and then centralized control. At 100 political power, we are going to pick the infantry expert. You can create a collaboration government in the Kingdom of Greece. That means we will not have to defend this area. At 50 political power, we are going to pick the decisive battle specialist. Then as soon as we complete this focus, there we go. We're going to start building more military factories in all of the 100% provinces and the 80% one. Then we're also going to start building infrastructures and military factories in Veneto, Abruzzo, Sicilia, and Alto Adige. As soon as the war between Japan and China starts, we are going to send volunteers to Japan. Just make sure that all of the puppets of Japan join, like now. And also ask for docking rights to Japan, otherwise sometimes your volunteers get messed up a little bit. And once that is done, we're going to send volunteers to each of these puppets. So that's going to be 2 here, and it should be 5 and 5 here. Once your volunteers are in position, start pushing, even if it is a tough push. Our main goal here is to farm army experience anyway. We don't care much about whether we push or not. Now at 150 political power, we are going to pick the Grand Battle Plan Expert. We're going to pick the Spirit Tip of the Spear. To increase our Special Forces cap, we're going to heavily use Special Forces in this run. And for that reason, we're also going to pick the first Special Forces Doctrine to increase the cap for Mountaineers. Now we want to make some changes to our Alpini division, and some important changes, that is. So we're going to add 3 Mountaineers battalions, and then especially we're going to add a lot of artillery. And I know this is controversial, but just wait and look at how well these divisions work. Then we'll talk about it again. So we're going for 30 with 9 Mountaineers and 4 artillery battalions. We're also going to add the support anti-air and the Rangers as soon as we have the army experience for that. Now we're going to pick army regrouping. We're going to force deploy and recruit another 24 infantry divisions. We're also going to start recruiting max Alpini divisions. That should be just 3 divisions. Now these should also allow us to send more volunteers to Japan. As we get to 100 political power, we are going to pick the tactical bombing expert. We're going to change the production. We want the production of artillery to be at 5 and the production of F1 to be at 20. We're also going to design and produce our C1 design. We're going for this design so that we can use it as a naval bomber as well. We want the production to be at 5 for this one. We're going to take all of these factories away from infantry equip. So infantry equip temporarily down and then up again. Now we also want to upgrade the MIO for the CL design. So let's go on and do that. Now this is very annoying, but what this means is that you need, well, this one we can change since we were not building it, but the ones you started building, you cannot change them as they are being built. So you just decrease the production to only 1 from infinite, and then you add the upgraded ones down here. Very annoying. We're also going to increase the number of dockyards to Littorio, the second Littorio, to 2 as well. This is the fighter MIO priority. At 127 political power, we're going to switch to extensive conscription. We're going to make sure that our Alpini have all of the support companies. Later on, we're actually going to add the field hospital as well. We're also going to add the anti-air to our infantry template as well. We're going to force deploy everything, and we are going to recruit max Alpini divisions, another 2. We should have a total of 10, so that's correct. Now, by doing this, we should also be able to send more volunteers to Japan. We're going to join the Axis. At 150 political power, we don't really have that much to do. But you can pick the press censorship. That will help us a bit in terms of stability. We really have an abundance of political power at the moment. More importantly, at this point, we want to start training our navy. So let's make sure it's gathered. And let's train it again to regular. Here is the motorized MIO. Alright, now as you pick this focus, it is time to make some changes and some preparations. First of all, now we do need the oil, the fuel, so we're going to import 7 oil from the Soviet Union, 7 civilian factories of oil. It's a bit of an overkill, but better safe than sorry. We need oil for our navy. And we're going to deploy and train all of the planes that we have available. Now, as you complete this focus, it's time for some more important changes. First of all, we're going to start justifying a war goal on France. This is just so that we can join World War II as soon as possible, as soon as Germany does. And yes, I know that's not historical, but with a competent Mussolini, Italy would have been ready and would have been able to declare war on France right away. That's the idea. Now we can finally use our spies for something useful. We are going to start spying on France, more or less useful, let's say. So it will make our push into France a bit easier. And then we're going to start building one refinery in each of the 100% provinces. Notice how we timely prepared everything for this run. So we take Albania at the perfect time to complete Mussolini's mission. So Mussolini is now very happy. And what is more important than making Mussolini happy? Nothing. Our CAS MIO priority. Alright, we're finally ready to design the new planes. For the CAS, we are going for this one, and then later on we will replace these bomb blocks with the heavy bomb blocks. Now, for our F2, we are not using the usual design. We use this one called F2C, which is a bit cheaper, especially in terms of rubber. We don't have a lot of rubber. We are going into a long war, so it is better to have a design without the self-sealing fuel tanks. Now, we do need to prepare our armies. That's going to be a huge task, and we also want to add the field hospital to our mountaineers. So we cancel the defensive order in here, and then we prepare our mountaineers here, ready to push into France. Ideally, we want to push all the way to Paris. Then we can adjust it a little bit, but if we get more planning, that's better. We have a lot of political power, so you can use it to add some medals in here. There are two very good ones, the division attack and also the supply consumption. I would say supply consumption is probably better value overall, but division attack is always good. Now, the volunteers infantry, which is now only 6 divisions, will follow the mountaineers around into France. Then we are going to use Giovanni Messe with another infantry army to push into Poland. This is not particularly needed, but it will grant us more war score at the end of the war, so that's always good. Another infantry army will actually be split into two groups of 12. One group will push into France from this area here, and the idea is we want to take all of the harbors eventually. So all the way to this one here. That's the final goal. But for now, we will push into here. And the second group of 12 will push for Cairo. And then they will stop here, but they will keep pushing and take the entire coastline. Our goal is to secure entirely the Mediterranean Sea. For these two armies, we are going to use Ezio Rosi and Sebastiano Visconti Brasca. Now, for the defensive group, what matters is that you assign them to an area defense command guarding coastlines all over the coastlines that we need to cover. That means all of Italy, Albania, Zara, and that should be it. Now, we are going to block, or better, avoid all sea regions except for these two here. And that includes these sea regions here too, for later. We're going to deploy and train all planes again. And it's finally time to pick some doctrines here. Land doctrines, we're going to pick the first 4, so these ones. And then we're going to start investing in the Special Forces doctrines. Now, since we invested into artillery, we're going the right path, otherwise you would go the left path here. We're going to pick the Navy Spirits as well. I'll pick this one here, the Naval Refit Yards, and Night Fighting. We're going to upgrade the CL MIO, very fun. Then, of course, if you have spare points, you can pick more doctrines, including the naval doctrines. Now it is time to stop training our navy. We don't want them to be caught off guard when the war starts. And boys, it is almost time. We are approaching the end of August, so Germany hopefully will historically attack Poland as they should. And action is coming. There we go. Germany declares war on Poland. It is World War II time. Now, I would recommend making a save at this point. As always, you never know. But then, as soon as possible, we are going to start our war on France. And we are going to start by pushing straight into the mountains. Now, we do want our planes, of course, to be assigned. So let's make sure that all planes are following our mountaineers. So we want to push everywhere at the same time. Now, although this is not entirely needed, we do have a lot of political power, so we're going to pick radio propaganda and domestic film industry. Later on, we may lose some war support due to casualties, so in this way, we don't suffer too much from that. Of course, we're going to pick war bonds as well, and we're also going to take over the Ministry of Education. The rest of the political power we are going to use to assign medals to our Alpini, which I just noticed are not fully trained. That's because of the field hospital. That will be fine very soon. No worries. And let's go. Let's see the mountaineers pushing in the mountains. And they are doing a pretty good job, as expected. Now we can assign this army to the same front. These mountaineers division guys are insanely strong, and they will become even stronger very soon. But they are basically unstoppable. There is a river crossing. We are not even pushing in the mountains, but that's the great thing about mountaineers. They have such good stats, especially with the special forces doctrines, that they can literally push anywhere. Now, I would love to take Corsica as well. And if we can take it with these guys, that's going to be better. So let's give it a try. Our volunteers are back, so we can merge them back into this army. And here, you don't really need to micromanage, but you can do it. And our goal is to rush Paris. Of course, that will end the war, with France at least. Oh, it's good to see that they are not currently defending this area. That's very convenient. Now, of course, our convoys are being raided, so we lack completely supplies in Africa. That's something that cannot fully be avoided in the sense that what you can do is you can use your fleet. But our fleet is not entirely ready yet. It's a bit risky to engage the Royal Navy now. It's better, in my opinion, to sacrifice some convoys, some supplies. It's fine. But spare the Navy. If you lose the Navy, it's pretty much GG, so you don't want to do that. Casualties, we can afford, so that's going to be fine. Oh, that's where they are, where all of the French divisions are. All in Marseille. Okay. Maybe we can even get an encirclement. Looks like we can. Very nice. Okay, now it's time to bring our mountaineers a bit more up here, because we do want to take Paris. Italy is doing a blitzkrieg on France from the south, way before Germany, and with mountaineers, with bersaglieri. Who could have foreseen that? Oh, they are even defending it. That's quite impressive, France. Good job. Oh, nice. This is something I'm very happy to see, because again, if we can take Corsica now, we don't need to send the mountaineers to take it later. It's going to be very convenient. So it's not always the case. If they have more divisions, that can be tough. Looks like we are still getting to Paris. Yeah, that's it. France is gone. And that was very fast. It was very, very fast. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to continue. We're going to take Belgium and the Netherlands. Actually, I forgot to justify on Belgium. I should have done it earlier, but it's only 10 days, so it's not really going to slow us down that much. Of course, the mountaineers are more than enough to push Belgium and the Netherlands. But overall, we are pretty satisfied with how things are looking. The tough part is coming next, actually. The very tough part is going to be pushing in Africa without supplies. Okay, now that we are done in this area, we can reassign the planes a little bit. And what we can start doing is we can start destroying some of their submarines here in the Mediterranean Sea. So we can assign our planes there, especially the CAS on naval strike. The fighters, we're actually going to split them around a little bit. So actually half of them, I think, can stay with the army. And another half can protect Italy. Now that these guys are done here, we can set them on area defense in France. Now, we're very lucky here, I must say, because the French don't have divisions protecting this area. Sometimes that's really not the case. Sometimes they have a lot of divisions in here. Of course, the less they have, the better it is for us. Now the French are sending more divisions. Here we do need to pay attention a little bit because we don't really want to push down here. But we do want this supply hub, then we can stop. So we're going to set like 4 divisions to protect this area. And the other ones are going to push up. Where is my claim? Oh, I have the claim. I missed it. Fuck my life. Okay, war on Belgium and a claim on the Netherlands. So let's easily take down Belgium with our unstoppable mountaineers. Belgium is down. We're going to create Vichy France by giving Paris to Germany. But before we do that, we want to control all of the harbors in the Mediterranean Sea. And this one, I can already see it's going to be a challenging one. Now, to help a little bit here with supplies, we can build railways to connect all of the supply hubs down here. So something like this and something like this. The best thing would be to have convoys, but if we cannot have convoys, then railways will help as well. So we can prioritize building them. Oh, I really like what I'm seeing here, which is no Brits in this area. That's amazing. So let's take care of the Netherlands first. Now, what to do with your mountaineers at this point? If you haven't taken Corsica yet, that would be my priority. Do keep in mind that on the way to Sardinia, they are likely to be harassed by the navy, so you may lose some of them. That's okay, that's acceptable. And we are probably going to lose them in a bit when we send them to Africa, because we do need to send them from Palermo to this area, help push here, and then naval invade Gibraltar. So in any case, we need them in Africa. As I said earlier, I would rather sacrifice some manpower and equipment than the navy. Okay, I see that here it's a bit of a mess. Of course, was to be expected. And the other place in which we are really struggling to push is this one here. Also to be expected. This is usually the toughest push in the early phases of the war. So I'm going to try, and I'm going to send all of the fighters and CAS here. And I'm also going to send the navy nearby. And we can decide we may engage them if they stop us. Okay, they are stopping us. So this is an important part of the run. If you want to preserve manpower, you can use your navy. If you want to preserve the navy, you can give up on some of the mountaineers. Now, I believe in our navy. I think that not the entire Royal Navy will be here, so probably we have a chance. So I will make a save, because this may end the run otherwise. And then we're going to set the navy on strike force in here and see if there is any chance. Let's see. Now, big choice here. The popular and the meta thing would be to go for more planning, but I personally like infiltration. I do really like the night assault tactics. This requires a little bit less micromanagement, and you don't need to always wait for planning. So we're going for this path instead. Okay, let's fight them. I believe in our fleet right now. Let's protect these mountaineers and fight them. So to start the engagement, I simply put them on convoy escort. Now I expect the Royal Navy to send maybe more stuff. No, they didn't. Okay, and that's great. Our mountaineers are all here. We did lose a bit of strength on this one, but overall, I'll totally take it. It's totally fine. So now let's get ready to push with them up here. Okay, in here they do have some divisions. So now it's particularly important to take this area because it will allow us to import oil from Iraq and Iran later on when the Soviet Union stops liking us. This guy decided not to go because his feelings are hurt. Now, in terms of the Navy, I don't find it particularly worth to upgrade the modules because you need to refit them to build new models and so on. But these passive buffs, they take only 50 days to research, so they are worth it in my opinion. But overall, guys, I really cannot complain about how this is going. This is very smooth. If you want to see it a bit more challenging, do check out my live streaming, because in that live, this part was a lot more challenging than it is being now. Though I did get a suggestion to build the railways during the live, and that massively helps. And also setting your CAS on naval bombing is really helpful too, because their convoys, our convoys are not always getting raided in this way. Oh, nice. This is going very well. Now we need to take them here, and they do have a huge amount of divisions here. Look at this. This is crazy. And look at my bicycle guys here. Look at how fun they look in the middle of the desert on their bicycles. Amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff. Now here, we are murdering our units, so it may be better to just chill for a second. Get some planning, then we can push. Okay, it's the German pushing actually. Okay, then you can murder your units, I don't care. Okay, we got the last harbor that we wanted. I would like to actually end the front like somewhere in here. See, maybe we can even get an encirclement. That would be very nice. We did get an encirclement here. We also got heavy bombs, which means we can upgrade our C2 design. Everything got messed up in here. Now change this back to CAS. I don't know why they changed it to a fighter, because this is clearly not a fighter, but let's use heavy bomb blocks now. It's fun how I select do not change the name and it still changes the name. That's a lot of fun too. Oh yeah, by the way, I did forget something. After taking France, you want to change the occupation law in France to harsh quotas. That means we take a lot more stuff from France, which is quite convenient. Okay, so now the first priority is to invade Gibraltar, groups of 2 from here. That way, since we control Cairo as well, we have full control of the Mediterranean Sea. And then we can start this naval invasion. This is potentially a tough one, but let's see. Not the naval invasion itself, but they can get intercepted very often. It looks like we are lucky. And they don't have anything in Gibraltar, it seems. No, okay. Well, that was easier than I expected, to be honest. Now, next will be Valletta. We can go from Tripoli, so let's prepare our fleet in there and send back the Mountaineers as well. Okay, perfect. Now that there is no more free France in here, we can give Paris to Germany. Now, this is not mandatory, of course, but it is also to make the run a little bit more historical. There should be a Vichy France. And also the other advantage of doing that is we don't have to fight the French fleet if we do that. So that's fairly convenient. Now, let's plan the naval invasion of Valletta. I think we can actually do this at the same time. This should not be very tough. Valletta, probably 2 are enough. And then Cyprus. I don't expect much of the Royal Navy to be left in here. Otherwise, they would be technically stuck in here. Though the AI cheats, so they can leave even if they are technically stuck. Because without Cairo and Gibraltar, they cannot go through. Oh, they actually had a lot of divisions there. Didn't expect that. We may need to trigger that one again, and they had nobody in here. Okay, well, I miscalculated a little bit the amount of divisions for each of these 2 naval invasions, sadly. This one was indeed successful, so now let's do this one again. This time there is no stopping me, except this naval invasion command getting messed up. Guys, you always ask me, why are my divisions not starting? That's because you misclick and you click on the arrow instead of clicking on the territory. So right now, if you click in the wrong place, you will click on the arrow and you will cancel some of these commands. So that's what's happening when it says no units are assigned. Always check for the exclamation marks. They should not have any exclamation mark. If it's yellow or red, something is wrong. You need to assign them again. Actually, sometimes Germany gives you back Paris after that. Which is convenient because with Paris you have a facility. If they don't, you will not have the facility, and it's fine anyway. No matter how many divisions you put in there. Really curious. That's a lot of divisions. To stop these 10 Mountaineers for so long, that must be a lot of divisions that they are losing right now. And they're gone. Okay, for the invasion of Greece, we are going historical. So we are going to push from here, like Italy really did. What is not going to be historical is the fact that we are going to completely destroy them instead of being stuck in there forever. Wow, this is a nice offense. Look at this. This looks so good. Yeah, I'm going to keep this. I like it. We're going to recruit 14 Alpini. I'm a bit late, I believe, with this. We're going to change the production a little bit. We want more C2, so we're going for 15. Then we're bringing the anti-air to 5, the trains to 5, just in case. You may need them later. And the trucks to 2. We're going to take this stuff from infantry equipment. Now that the Mediterranean is secured, we also need to change these army commands a little bit. We don't need to protect the Mediterranean anymore. Instead, we can focus on protecting France from naval invasions. Gibraltar, of course. We're going to leave a couple here, just in case later Vichy France gets attacked, which is usually the case. And we want to protect this area here, though here we may need to send another army. In fact, we will send another army. So basically, we can now merge these divisions here, and we can assign them to a fallback line like this. And that should pretty much cover the area that we want to defend. So now we're going to bring the infantry template to 16 with, add in 2 more battalions, and then we're going to recruit another 24 of them. At this point, we can use our spies to spy the UK and to spy Leningrad for later. Now, we're going to build some more dockyards in the 100% provinces here. And then we're going to build military factories in all of the 100% and then in Yugoslavia. We want to annex Yugoslavia. So to decrease their autonomy, we're going to build a lot of military factories. Okay, now we can reassign our planes a little bit, and priority now is destroying the Royal Air Force. So we're going to send a lot of these planes to the channel. Now, half of the fighters I think we can keep with our army, but the other ones, let's send them to the channel and challenge the Royal Air Force, both in the channel and in the UK. We're going to attack Greece in July 1940 to keep it historical, so you do have some buffer time here if it takes longer to secure the Mediterranean Sea or to push France. Do not worry. Since we did not engage the Royal Navy in here, we're going to have to do it later in the channel. That's okay. That's what we have been preparing for. I do expect some big battles in the channel. It's going to be fun. Also, it is July 1940, so it is time to attack Greece, which I completely forgot to get a claim on. But that's an easy and fast one, luckily. So let's do that very quick and attack them. Is it going to be historical? Is Italy going to be stuck in the mountains forever? No, it's not. Italy is not going to be stuck. Not at all. Despite this horrible plan, things are surprisingly working. And the Bulgarians are going to steal some stuff from us, which is not cool. Not cool at all. But Greece is down. That's great. Now that Greece is down, we do need to take the islands as well, because I don't want anyone in the Mediterranean that is not us. So let's plan a naval invasion very quickly. Oh, people are dying. Look at Visconti Prasca. He has so many trades. Guy's amazing. Now, at this point, if you're low on manpower, lower than we are, you can pick service by requirement. If you don't need to, like in this case, you can skip that. It's up to you. What you want to pick is war bonds, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to start a justification on Switzerland. Now, this is also not mandatory and it is not historical, but this is needed if you want to create the Greater Italy, which is very cool. And I think Mussolini would have liked to do this historically. He couldn't, but if we can, then why not? But that's not all. We're also going to change our Alpini divisions. We're going to add 3 more Mountaineers battalions, bringing the combat width to 36. Oh, the UK is trying something with 1 division. That's a big naval invasion. Oh, now this is a proper naval invasion. Good job. You still get destroyed though. Okay, we got our claim on Switzerland. So let's go on and take Switzerland. Switzerland is usually a bit tough, but I expect our Mountaineers to destroy them quite easily. Now, let's decrease the autonomy in Yugoslavia. We actually need to annex Yugoslavia. We can send them maybe convoys, the usual trick. And then, since we're also building in there, it should be fine. Okay, the Soviet Union embargoed us, which is not great. But as I mentioned earlier, well, we have Romania, but in case you also have Iran, so we can buy fuel from them. So let's go on and do that. Okay, Switzerland is gone. Perfect. Now we can merge back our Mountaineers. Maybe a couple more medals. Now we're going to get ready to invade the Soviet Union, which is going to be our next task. So now for the invasion of the Soviet Union, we're not only using our Mountaineers, we're also going to send the infantry in this area. We're not going to send them right away, but we're going to prepare them. Historically, Italy did not naval invade the Soviet Union, but again, a competent Mussolini would probably know that a naval invasion of Leningrad can be very helpful for a successful Barbarossa. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to naval invade Leningrad, and then we're going to expand from here. And we're going to try and rush Moscow and possibly Stalingrad and Baku before Germany. Now, one important thing to mention here is we are not making collaboration governments in the Soviet Union, despite the fact that we could make them. Why are we not making them? Because likely Germany will have a higher war score, and collaboration governments do not work unless you have the highest war score among all participants. So you can make them if you're confident you will get a higher war score, but if you're not confident, like in this case, there isn't much point in making them. Now, before we start planning the naval invasion, we're going to wait for this research here, so we can send the entire army. Also, we're not going to attack the Soviet Union, as we are going to wait for Germany to historically do that. But if they do not do it in June 1941, then we're going to take the initiative to keep this more historical. Yeah, we got our naval invasion technology. The problem is we don't have convoys at the moment because we sent them all to Yugoslavia. But we are going to plan the naval invasion anyways. We're going for groups of 4, and we want the area of Leningrad. Okay, we're almost there. Done. Okay, Yugoslavia annexed. Okay, so now we have all of the requirements for Proclaim Greater Italy. Of course, we still lack the focuses, but next we are going down that path, so soon we will be able to do it. In the meantime, let's get ready for Barbarossa. We completed the radar technology and we're going to use radars right away. We're going to build them all over northern France, so when we fight the Royal Navy in the Channel, we will have a massive advantage. We're going to give Germany some more time here. Then if they don't trigger the invasion by the end of June, we're going to start it ourselves. Oh, okay. Good job, Germany. Germany was indeed on time, so well, we can join them at this point. And it's time for Barbarossa, a painful Barbarossa, guys, because we don't have collaboration governments. This also will make it a bit more historical, so it will be a pain to push all the way to Moscow, Stalingrad, and then we're going to end up in here. It's going to be a painful one. So one thing we do want now is a lot of fighters and CAS to be assigned to our main army. Now, the main purpose of the naval invasion here is that we don't give war score to Germany. If we push from here, then Germany will take the war score from us. If we create a new front in here, then it will be our land and our war score. But we're already pushing them. Actually, there is Finland messing things up a bit. All good. All very good. Let's push a bit more here. Especially, we need to take, as always in the Soviet Union, harbors and especially supply hubs. Supply hubs are going to be the key in winning this war. We don't want to send reinforcements just yet because, again, supplies are limited. The more units you have, the less supplies you get. Now, I kind of remember where the supply hubs are since I did this so many times, but you can always go to this map mode and check. Also, by the way, as you can see here, not only supply hubs, also railways are very important. If you don't connect them, it's like not having them. Alright, things are going really well so far, but it is time to send some more divisions. Especially to cover the fronts in which we do not want to push, like here. We don't want to push here. So once they are in there, we can deploy our Mountaineers a bit better. We can try to get an encirclement here, maybe kill some of their divisions. Lovely. We just got some big encirclements here, and I think this is also the right time to send back the Navy to France and start engaging the Royal Navy. It is time to destroy them. And the United States are joining as well. So before the US Navy gets in there, it would be better to destroy the Royal Navy, of course. We also want to use our CAS as naval bombers. So we're going to send them all to the area of the Channel. So we're pretty much ready. I don't know if the Royal Navy is willing to engage us right now. But one thing that you can do is you can select one submarine. You can set the submarine on patrol and on always engage. So that's one way. We also want these guys to always engage. That's one way to bait the Royal Navy into attacking us, and then the rest of the fleet will be ready to attack as soon as they do. So let's see if they do or not. Maybe. Okay, here we got them. Now we need to see if our fleet gets there in time. Hopefully they do. Yes, okay. We got an engagement with the Royal Navy. That's nice. Now let's send back everyone in here. Actually, this I want to protect. So we will have the CAS support as well. This is a big battle, but we will destroy them. We have the perfect designs for this. So this will be a disaster for the Royal Navy. I hope they send the entire Navy there. Yes, they did. More. Send more. Ooh, look at that. That's painful. I mean, we lost only a few subs and some CAS. You do lose a lot of CAS with this strategy, but, well, CAS you can get back easily. Okay, we got this upgrade for radars, so we can build even better radars now here. And if you're wondering what do radars do, now if we check here and you check the air detection, it is very, very high. Usually air detection is very low. It is even night at this time, but radars in range increase it massively. This applies to the Navy, which will spot the enemy Navy faster, and to our planes, which will be able to destroy them with CAS a lot faster, and with naval bombers, of course. Now here we need to try and rush Moscow. Let's see if we can do that a bit brutally, like this. Taking Moscow will help massively with supplies in the area. Okay, now next we need to go for Stalingrad. I was hoping to hold control of that territory, but apparently Germany was too fast for us this time. Okay, we completed the focus towards a Greater Italy, which means we can proclaim a Greater Italy. That's also going to help with manpower a bit, because we do gain some additional cores. We get a very fancy flag and a very, very cool color on the map. Now the US will join, but we can fight the US Navy together with the Royal Navy. That's fine. That's a nice challenge. Japan is going berserk, and the US is joining, as expected. We're also going to add the field hospital to our infantry divisions. So we can now set our submarines on convoy raiding. Oh, there I see their fleet finally. And here too. Okay, okay, nice. Here is a big battle. We're going to destroy them completely. Perfect. And we don't want to help those ones. Oh, there is another big battle. Let's see some of these big battles here. Ah, the US Navy is involved as well. That's very nice. Look at these. Destroyers destroyed. Perfect. We're doing a very good job here in the channel, disintegrating the Royal Navy. So generally with submarines you want groups of 10, so more or less like this, it's fine. And the rest of the Navy can be in a doom stack, like all together, or it can be split around in a couple of task forces like these on strike force. When you want to escort your convoys, you should detach the destroyers from the main fleet and use them. Oh, by the way, we can take concealment expert. This is very important. Sad that I forgot about that before. Now, supplies are a nightmare in here. But overall, we are doing fine. Oh, another big naval battle here. Nice. Ooh, the Royal Navy is... Why do you show me the wrong one? That's not the right battle. They lost 16 destroyers, come on. Now here we are just preparing for that moment in which you simply have to push anywhere you can to take them down. Complete naval control of the English Channel. When you look at this, how beautiful it is. Now one thing that I mentioned recently about Grand Battle Plan is, yeah, planning is great, but look at this situation here. Germany is just pushing. We cannot get the planning because they keep pushing. So in this case, it's completely useless. So it's good, in my opinion, that we went for the right path down here. So we got the land knight attack. That's always good. Anywhere you play, in any case, in any situation, that's always good value. Oh, big naval battle here. Completely destroyed them. Completely. Even the Brazilian fleet is in here. Nothing to do. You can try to rush some of the victory points in here. It may help. Should be almost there. 21%. We need 1 more percent for the Soviet Union to go down. Painful push in Siberia. No victory points whatsoever. Oh, game lagging. That's good news. Now, the German Reich did get way more war score than us against the Soviet Union. In my live, it went a bit better, but it doesn't matter that much. The important thing is that Barbarossa is done as we wanted. Oh, look at this. A Reichskommissariat. Now, what do we get from the Soviet Union? Depends a bit on the war score, but what I would suggest getting is the oil from this area. This is probably the most important thing, so try to puppet it. Then we also need a lot of steel, so try to get steel-rich regions. And yes, we had some additional points, so I should have gotten a bit more. It doesn't matter. If you have more war score, try to get a bit more, maybe some stuff in here. Overall, it doesn't matter because in this run, we are friends with the German Reich. We are not their enemies, so we don't need to steal stuff. Now, if you want to see us fucking up the German Reich, though, in the continuation of this run, do check the second live we made, because in that one, we decided to destroy Germany. We betrayed a few friends, a few allies in our career. Now, it is time to get ready for the invasion of the UK. Sounds like a tough moment. Many of you struggle in their runs. Well, now I will show you what it means to have good divisions when you invade the UK. Keep in mind that this is not just the UK. This is the UK with all of the US in there as well. So a lot of divisions will be in here. Now, of course, the great advantage we have at the moment, in addition to these fantastic divisions, is the fact that we can invade with up to 24 divisions. So that's going to help a lot. We're going for groups of 4 instead of the usual 2, but more or less the rest of the plan is the same. So something like this, groups of 4. And of course, the other great advantage we have is we destroyed the Royal Navy basically entirely. We have full air superiority. So this naval invasion will be incredibly easy. Of course, we also have a great spy network in the UK, which is going to help. Look at this, everything is green. Green sea, green air, green everything. Oh my god, you're walking? Are you kidding me? You're freaking walking? Still, the Royal Navy sometimes comes up, fights a little bit, gets destroyed even more. Did we destroy that big one? Finally, it was a carrier. Okay, I think our Mountaineers are now in position. So we can set our Navy on naval invasion support. Then later on we will set them on convoy escort. And let's see how tough this naval invasion of the UK is. So as you can see, they do have divisions. It's not like they don't have divisions. I mean, it's 1942 and the UK and the US are in there, both of them. Okay, completely destroyed in the first step of the invasion. And now we just go for an offensive line. We absolutely don't care. Now this is another situation in which, in my opinion, getting the planning is not worth it. It's better to keep pushing right away, not to give them time to organize. We're doing this only with the Mountaineers. I'm not going to send any other divisions in here. So 24 Mountaineers is all we need. Another mistake I often see with the UK is sending too many divisions. You don't want to send too many divisions, especially if you don't have the navy and air superiority, and you will struggle a lot more with supplies. It's very important that you don't send too many divisions in there. And look at how easy this is. We're basically just walking in the UK. Look at this encirclement here. This is amazing. Destroyed, and with the encirclement, the UK goes down entirely. Incredibly easy. I didn't check the timing, but it took like 1 week to take down the UK. A UK at almost full strength, let's say. Okay, we're not done yet. I want to take Ireland as well, because I do not want them to have any ports in this area, so they will not naval invade France anymore. Oh, also we can start spying on the US and try to make a collaboration government, although usually you take them down before the collaboration government is ready, especially if you forget about it like I just did. Meanwhile, this should not be much of a challenge. Ireland is down. Okay, now it's time to plan another naval invasion, a trickier one, because we need to get to the US. How do we get to the US? The range here is not enough. So the best way, in my opinion, to get to the US is from this area here, Suriname, Guyana, and so on. To get here, you need to get docking rights from Venezuela, which is fascist, and Spain. With their docking rights, we have enough naval range to get to this area, and then from this area to this area. You can also get docking rights from the Dominican Republic. Now, for the naval invasion, we don't want to use 24 divisions, it's a bit too many, so we are going to remove some of them. We want to keep only 10. So from Gibraltar, we go for groups of 2 in this area. Now, to achieve the naval superiority, we are going to micromanage our fleet a little bit here. So we can keep them split into groups of 4, that's okay, but we're going to, well, let's wait for them to accept first of all. We're going to send a couple of groups in this area, like here. And the other 2 can be around here. If you cannot get the naval superiority in here, merge them into one. Okay, finally. Move the fleet around a little bit until you get Green Sea. It should be fairly easy to get it. And then we can start our naval invasion. So we are also at war with Brazil, but we don't really want to push into Brazil. So we just want to take the coastline and then plan another naval invasion and go straight to Florida. Perfect. Now we can merge back the other group. And now that they are 24, we can plan the naval invasion of Florida. We are going for groups of 4. Now, usually at this point of the war, the US is quite distracted with Japan. Japan, in fact, is winning big time in here. It's destroying them. It's destroying China as well. Japan is doing very good. In any case, they don't usually have that many divisions back home. I really hope they will have some, because in my life they had none at all. It was quite disappointing. So let's see what happens. So now we can set all destroyers aside. Split them around a bit, set them on convoy escort in here. Probably in here too. We will need them later anyway. The rest of the fleet can go on naval invasion support. I think the Mountaineers are in position. Before we run completely out of supplies, let's trigger the naval invasion. Yeah, but it does look like the US doesn't have divisions again. So a bit anticlimactic, but I don't think we will have a big challenge here to end our run. And we can send over the additional infantry divisions that we prepared. We can send all of them, 3 groups. There will be enough space for everybody here soon. Yeah, look at the US. 2 divisions protecting the mainland. Not cool, guys. Not cool. Well, let's start pushing. The only annoying thing here is if it takes you too long to take down the US, then Chile will join the war and will probably be considered a major, in which case you need to invade Chile as well. Which is not challenging, but it is annoying. It's a bit sad that our Mountaineers don't have a final challenge, because this division is so insane right now. Like, incredible soft attack for an infantry division, or for a special forces template. Well, the US is just falling apart without doing anything. Okay, Chile is considered a major, so the war will not end when we capitulate the United States, which is annoying, but it's okay. It didn't happen in the live, so at least we can showcase that here. Also, this is incredibly stupid, and I hope Paradox fixes it, because there is absolutely no reason in the world why Chile should be considered a major. It's just plain stupid. Okay, so the US will go down now. And usually this would be enough to end the war, but not if Chile decides to be a major for some weird reason. In that case, that's not going to be enough, so we need to take down Mexico. And we're going to do that now. Now, from Mexico, we're going to plan the naval invasion of Chile, but for that we need docking rights from Peru. Okay, Green Sea everywhere, meaning we can trigger our naval invasion of Chile. As soon as the naval invasion triggers, we can split these guys around a bit. And these guys are just late. They were hanging out somewhere else. They were just walking probably all the way from Canada, as the AI loves doing, and they're just not going. They didn't want to take part in this naval invasion. Fine, whatever. Well, at least they are putting up more of a challenge than the US, so somehow they are less disappointing. So with the Alpini, naval invading and pushing into Chile, our run really comes to an end. And you may argue, well, this is not very historical, is it? You will be right about that, but there was a point in this run in which we were playing historical Italy. Then something happened and, well, we took part of the Soviet Union and the US is now Greater Italy. Yeah, so in the end it wasn't that historical, but it started as historical. After all, this is what could have happened if Mussolini were competent. You never know. Okay guys, and look at the war score that we got. 61% versus 21% of Japan and only 17% for the German Reich. Quite disappointing, Adolf. Look at Mussolini, outperforming you big time. I will skip the peace conference entirely, guys. You just pop it, whatever you want. The run is over, but if you want to see the continuation of this run, you can check the live that we made in which we continued it by fighting the German Reich and then Japan for a complete war domination. Alright guys, we got to the end of this amazing run with Italy. We started as historical Italy, but after Barbarossa, well, there was nothing historical anymore, so we went on and conquered the United States, Mexico, Chile, the rest of the world. And now we basically control everything. Yeah, Germany took most of Russia, but other than that, we did conquer everything we wanted. Who knows if a competent Mussolini would have been able to achieve something like this? Probably not, but in the game we were able to do so, and it was a lot of fun to do so. Although this was a very long run, so hopefully I will be able to edit it into a fairly short video, not too short for sure. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and this run, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and leaving me a comment. It really helps, and as you can see, a lot of work goes into these runs. This one will be a lot of work to edit as well. Other than that, guys, as always, if you stayed with me until now, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Bye bye!